Hi, I'm Chris Thomas with the CTCS Group, your resource for HR leadership and consulting. On today's Ask Me About HR, we're talking about the exciting world of the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA. In case you're not aware, new salary thresholds were issued by the Department of Labor effective January 1st that anyone who makes under $35,568 per year or $684 per week is automatically overtime eligible, or in the language of the FLSA, non-exempt, meaning the statute applies to them. First thing first, for all you business owners out there, I've heard this from many of you that I'm okay, my employees are salaried. Again, salaried has nothing to do with what FLSA stands for. FLSA only concerns itself with, are you covered? In essence, non-exempt from the language, or not covered, exempt from the language. Whether you pay someone hourly or salaried is irrelevant as far as FLSA is concerned. Although generally we fall in the categories of saying someone who's hourly is non-exempt and someone who's salaried is exempt, but it doesn't work that way. Remember, the threshold is just the first test. If someone is making less than the $35,568, they're automatically overtime eligible per FLSA rules as of January 1st. However, if they make more than that, that doesn't automatically make them exempt. You have to go through the next level of tests that only gets you past go. And the next level of tests then are the professional, administrative, and executive, just to name a few. Those tests can be highly complex, so if you're not familiar with FLSA, get help. If you have exempt employees paid less than the $35,568, you need to take some action before January 1st. One of those actions can be increase their salary so they're over that amount, and another could be just assume they're going to be overtime eligible. If you do that, make sure you start capturing hours and you're paying overtime. Now, what are the risks of all of this? If the DOL shows up on your doorstep, the first thing the DOL is going to do is go check and see whether you have those posters. You might say, oh, well, the DOL is not going to show up. Trust me, all it takes is one disgruntled employee to go to Wage and Hour and file a lawsuit. If the DOL does show up and they check your posters and your posters are out of date, they're going to assume you're not necessarily being very compliant. So it's those simple things that can get you into trouble. The next thing they're going to do is look at your timekeeping system and double check, are you capturing all the hours? Are you also paying all of the wage types that should be calculated as part of overtime? And then beyond that, they're going to then request 3 years of back records, not just on the employees who may have filed a complaint, but on all of your employees. So once they go in and start digging, they're digging. And think about it, 3 years of potential back overtime, you're now going to have some potential huge liability if you're not doing this correctly. So first off, get yourself compliant. Make sure that you're looking at whether people are correctly classified as exempt or non-exempt. Second, make sure that if you have some of those pay situations below the $35,568, you're taking action to address it. And then the last part, it's a great time to just double check your payroll system. Make sure that you're both correctly catching the hours and paying overtime as it should be paid, and paying for all of the salary that should be included in those overtime calculations. As always, if you need help, we're here, just reach out. Thanks again from the CTCS Group, and join us again next week for another Ask Me About HR.